Hello, Sharon.
Hello, Lilou. How are you?
Good to have you on webcam. Um,
Uh,
it's such a delight to be speaking with you and to talk today of expressive, creative painting and all that. We'll get into the creativity and the intuition. But what I just really want and I'm the most excited about is to actually introduce you to everybody because I am so thankful to have met you over in Atlanta because of the Oprah Winfrey Network audition. We met there and you have been such a bright light in my life right now. And you have brought so many creative ideas and so many things that people are going to discover later on that we're working on together. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being there. What a beautiful synchronicity.
well, thank you. And it just, oh, my heart just jumps when you say things like that because I feel the same. And I was so excited that I actually learned you were coming to Atlanta to the Oprah audition. And so for me, that was more important than the Oprah audition.
Yeah, and I just love how life just works out perfectly like that. And what I found really interesting about your background is that you worked for corporate America for 20 or so years and in advertising and now you've decided to go for, I mean, some time ago already, but to go fully for your dreams and what you love and you have created your own network. I think that is called the Blue Frog Creative Network.
Yes.
Which really appeals to me as a French person. There's the frog thing going on. So
Yes, well, I've had that frog thing for quite some time. And, I coming from the corporate world, I spent so many years enjoying what I did, but I always felt this deep yearning inside of me to really express myself creatively. And of course, even though I had what I felt like were wonderful jobs, I was restricted in really being the creative person that I believed I could be. And so it was really wonderful when I made that decision to eventually leave that world and start to just find my own creativity.
Oh, and there's so many questions I have because you have started the paint journey, and many different programs and retreats. But tell us about the what you how you feel like what painting can bring. How did you discover the power of painting and what it did in your personal life, and how did that really help you actually to discover your life mission and life purpose?
Actually, it did. And what's really interesting is that I started out in college and I majored in art, and I was very much into expressing myself and learning about, being an artist. But what I found as I continued to study was that because I was in school, there were a lot of restrictions, and it sort of became like a box that I was in, and I just wanted to express myself. And this was many, many years ago when I went to college. So I ended up going from an art career into more of an advertising career. And of course, that is what put me into the creative world. But I found that painting was one of the tools that allowed me to just do whatever I wanted. And so I didn't paint for many, many years. And then I took this, I actually went to a retreat, and I had this chance to just do nothing but paint whatever came. It wasn't about art. And I had this really tremendous breakthrough in my life. I had some personal issues going on that were very traumatic for me. And this week of painting expressively opened me up and actually changed my life. I came home with a different feeling about myself and about how I was going to move forward in my life.
So what happens in that process then as you were painting? What opened up?
Well, it's kind of funny, and especially for me, because, at first I got sort of caught up in this, oh, what will people think of me?
Yeah.
And what are the other people doing? And I went into this whole critical process of whether I was good enough.
Yeah.
And it took me a while, but I started to realize that it was okay if I wanted to just put blue paint all over the paper and just sit there and stare at it. I could, because I was putting my feelings onto the paper, and I got to a place where I no longer cared whether anyone liked this piece of paper or not. It was how I felt, not how anyone judged me or critiqued what I did. And I transitioned from what we think might be painting for art to a process of painting. And it began to, it's very hard to describe.
No, you're doing a good job at describing it. We can totally feel it right now. I can. I'm sure everybody's watching can feel it.
Yes, you have this moment where it's almost like lightning. And for me, I had this glimpse, this moment, it struck me, and I was like somewhere within myself, and something just let go. And I don't know what it was, but I knew in that moment that my life was very different.
It must have felt really good, that letting go.
It did. It was, I think for the rest of the day, I felt like I was walking on clouds. And I actually said, wow, all I did was with this paintbrush and paper and this paint, I painted like a child. I actually discovered my natural born creativity when I was a little child, because I felt so free. And I think that's the feeling that you gain, and different people gained it in different ways, but my experience was this rush of freedom and just expression, and all of a sudden I found something inside of me that's always been there, but I allowed it to wake up.
So it's like you're unlocking all that potential, and that soul is finally speaking out, and your spirit is starting to express itself.
Yes, my creative spirit actually introduced itself to me.
Really? What did it say? Some red, or did it say this?
It's like sometimes it's not like you hear voices, and of course, I also am very intuitive, but I realized that was an intuitive part of me that had been very shut down. And what I gained was that I learned that creativity and intuition are like brother and sister. And if you pair them up together and you work together like a family, it all of a sudden your whole life becomes different. It changes. And, it reminded me of the hundreds and thousands of people in my career that when I would say I'm in the creative industry, they would look at me and go, well, I'm not creative, or I can't draw a straight line. And that actually made me feel sad. Yeah. And when I started to have my real creative breakthrough, I think that sadness even got greater, because I said, oh, wait a minute, I can't let people walk around and be sad about their creativity. So that was sort of the awakening, that I realized that I felt like my purpose in life now was to get everybody being creative and waking up and saying, I am a creative person. And you can do that through just simple painting. And it's like a tool. But I like it because it's color and it's movement and it's energy. And you can just put those horrible feelings on a piece of paper and let them go. And that's what I did that first time.
I cannot wait. I have to say, I cannot wait to see, in October you're doing the seminar over in Atlanta, and I'm going there, and I want to let everybody know that I'll be actually speaking there, but also participating and videotaping it and putting it all on YouTube. So I just cannot wait to film this entire process. I'm really getting really excited about it now. You're speaking at it to this. I really get that whole world of color. It's like you're in the middle of all those. There's something about color too that is so fascinating. That is just it's unlimited. It's unlimited, and your spirit just awakens. It's fantastic.
It is. And color, in my life, in working intuitively and naturally, just using my intuition, color has an energy. And one of the things that I do now when I work with people in assisting them and opening their creativity is that I show them and share with them how color has a feeling, and you can smell color and you can taste color, and I tried my best to inspire people that let's become that color. You know, what would you do if you were all of a sudden red? If you just had red inside and outside and you were red, what would that feel like? And so I invite people to experience that color. And I think the other thing about colors is they do represent, based on what you're attracted to at any time in your life, that color does, there's an analysis that you can actually, like a profile you can go through that says, I'm feeling green today. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean I'm going to get a lot of money?
How about for people that are really going through a hard time or depressed? I mean, is it okay to paint that first to allow then the creative colors and the joy to come in? What's your experience of that?
Well, the experience is that I think you just have to start intuitively, and you just have to be okay with where you are in your life. And there are all kinds of people that are attracted to this kind of painting. And we do, in the work that I do, I facilitate people while they're painting, and there may be moments of sadness, there may be moments of anger that come up, and there may be moments of people just start laughing, and they're laughing and laughing, but what it's doing is they're going through a transformation. And I think one thing I want to say is that I'm very committed to transformation and helping people transform, because I don't necessarily believe that wherever you are in your life, it's not wrong. It's if you're there, it's perfect, and that I'm here to assist you to just transform from one place to another, and whatever that ends up looking like, it's okay. Because let's say someone did this painting and they were depressed. Well, I'm not going to say that you won't be depressed. I don't know that, because it's up to the individual. But I do know that you will have an experience that you will never forget. And along the way, you may find that depression is starting to dissolve. Yeah. Or, what I love about this kind of painting is that once you experience a class, if someone chooses to do a class at some point, you can do this at home. I mean, you can continue it at home every single day. And the beauty of doing it sometimes in groups is that you're getting the group the healing energy. And I call this healing art. Yeah. It is healing, because it is a process. And but I have no expectations of anyone. And also, I will say that one thing that painting like this seems to bring up for everyone, and that's criticism. Yeah. Because those little voices in our head when we were little kids, and at some point in our lives, someone said, stop being creative, or, stop jumping up and down, or don't be loud, or be quiet. That's stifling our creativity. And so those little voices start adding up. And when you start painting, those little voices start saying, oh, am I doing this right? Or I feel silly. Or believe me, everybody feels the same way when they start. Yeah. It's kind of addictive. Once you start, it's hard to stop.
So you have some amazing paintings behind you that some of them even became art. I mean, we don't feel that. I know that I'm not going to pop anything like that, but
you might.
maybe we might be surprised. I don't know.
Well, we have, there are some examples behind me, and these are examples to represent that it doesn't, we're not painting to create a piece of art. Right. We're painting so that whatever evolves comes forward. Mm-hmm. And some people just start with putting color on paper and just allowing it to guide them. Mm-hmm. And then some people might, start with a shape like a circle or a square, and then they see something in that, and they just start painting it. And if it turns into an object, that's okay. It's wherever you're being led.
So actually, just a little question there. You're actually, when we'll be in the class, you're going to lead us to, you're going to explain to us or tell us what to do or put us in a condition where we can actually expand on that creative part?
I give you some initial instructions,
Okay.
and we do have sharing sessions. We paint for we have different painting sessions, and then afterwards we gather as a group and we just share. We never discuss the paintings, but people have the opportunity to share, or they can talk about why did they paint what they painted. But it's up to them to decide that. But we do give you, we start you out with some basic instructions, and then there are facilitators that actually walk around and we'll have conversations with you based on what you're feeling at the time, or if you have questions, or if things are coming up. We do have professionals that work with you as you paint.
So tell us about the ones that you have behind.
The ones behind me, there you see one that looks like this large starburst or sun, and I can just kind of and actually that painting by student, I was very attracted to that painting because the energy just felt so like they had just awakened something within them. And that student explained that they were going through some life issues. And they started out by actually with some dark colors, purples and reds, and then all of a sudden they were compelled to start painting yellows, and they felt more energetic. And so this person said that this painting was very representative of, and this was a man, by the way, a man who said that he realized he really wanted to let go of some things in his life and let beautiful sunshine and energy into his body.
Nice.
And so he painted that.
Why didn't he keep it then and put it at home and watch it here and then?
Well, and you can do that. Well, when you paint in these sessions, sometimes you might paint 10, 20, 30 paintings.
Wow.
And he painted some others that were very similar, but he was very willing. I was actually honored that he was willing to give that one up as an example.
Yeah.
For
that's
for
awesome.
our program. But some of the others behind us, you see this beautiful bird here. Now, I have to say, some people might look at that and say, that's a piece of art and that person must have had experience. But I will tell you, that person that painted that painting had never painted before.
No way.
And she believed that intuitively she was being given information, or her hand was being guided to create that, well, it looks like a peacock. I call it, it's a bird. And she said that it just evolved as she painted. And she was so happy. And actually, she left feeling that she had transformed her life dramatically.
I can see that.
And then we have another one that is sort of a red, sort of like a...
We can't see it so well because it's right behind my video, but...
Yes, and it's just, again, it's color and paint. It's how you feel. It's the motion. And some people, there's one right behind me that looks like planets.
Yeah, it looks like planets,
And that person said that in fact, that was a man also, and he said he really felt silly painting, and he just started making circles. And then he said all of a sudden he realized, oh, they look like planets.
Wow.
And then he said that what started coming up in his mind was that he lived in a different world, and that he had always felt as though he was different from everyone. And he wanted to create his own planet where he could feel like he had a life that was accepted, and it was his world. And again, that's how he said those were the thoughts, and the more he painted, the more excited he got about creating his own planet. So, you can create sometimes sort of an icon or a mantra for yourself, a visual. And all of these students that agreed to share these paintings, I'll say expressions because they're expressive paintings. All of them had painted similar pieces as well, but they all wanted others to see what they experienced, and that was one of their reasons for being willing to give those up or to share those with us.
Well, it's beautiful. It's really, I mean, it's from spirit. It's like this non-attachment.
It is, and you know, being an artist, starting out studying art, it took me a while to learn to transform myself from producing a piece of artwork to just painting intuitively. And I have to say, I'm so much happier painting intuitively. And it doesn't mean that I don't produce a landscape, but I will tell you, it doesn't always start out that way. I start with a blank canvas and then I let spirit guide me.
Very, very cool. Oh, this is so awesome. I cannot wait. So we can do this at home too later, I guess, once we learn the process. Whoops, I'm losing my glasses and my headset. So tell us about this seminar coming up, the program coming up soon.
Well, as part of the Blue Frog Creative Network, we've added a new program, and it's a painting workshop retreat. And the retreat is 3 days of painting. And it'll be in a beautiful, serene place in the Georgia mountains. And you can actually come and I always find that when we do any kind of a retreat or program, everyone that shows up is meant to be there and is meant to meet the people that are there. Because not only do miracles occur while you're painting, miracles occur because sometimes you make friends that you bond with and you have friends for life. And I get excited because I love going to new places and meeting new groups and working with groups. Group energy is very important, I think, in the future of transforming, because we don't want to all do this alone. And so the retreat is designed to give those people that may be facing challenges, or people that may be in maybe a personal crisis, or people that are really creative but they're stuck and they want to get unstuck. And then also, it's not just for people that are maybe in a negative place, it's for people that are in a positive place and they say, I want to get more creative. I want to really explore this expressive painting. Mm-hmm. And so you have a nice combination of people that all come together and share with each other. So it's a lot of good food. We have all kinds of, we do regular food, vegetarian, vegan, and you'll have some time to actually sort of wind down and do a little walking in the woods, if you like, because there's beautiful trails that you can walk in. So, in fact, it's called the Center for New Beginnings. Wow. And how appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. That's really, really exciting. And then what I love too is that we don't need to bring our paint because I'm quite a big painter. I utilize a lot of paint. I've noticed, like, it's crazy. I'm glad that you're supplying all that.
Yes, and we use a water-based paint that stays very brilliant, and it also dries very quickly. Uh-huh. And but yes, we bring lots of paint because you can use as much paint as you want. There's no restriction on how much paint that you can use.
This is going to be so much fun, and I cannot wait to interview people in the process, and having the experience right there of the people painting and opening up and having those breakthroughs. I mean, I'm just so excited.
Yes, it is. It's a very spiritual experience, and like I said, it's all kinds of people, and that's what makes it so beautiful. Is that everyone shares. With each other, and everyone is caring and sensitive. And as I said earlier, it's a no critique zone. We do not discuss paintings in class, and we don't critique them. Mm-hmm. So that's what makes it so beautiful.
Oh, so exciting. So exciting. Do you have something else to say, Sharon, or for people watching this video on the processes or on your programs or anything that message that you want to get through?
Yes, I do. I think that it's really important to, no matter who you are or no matter what you do in your life or in your career, that if you shut down your creativity, you shut down a part of yourself. And if you shut down a part of yourself, which is also part of your intuition, it stops you from living life fully. It can even stop people from perhaps even living their dreams. And I think that, I share a similar goal as you, that I would love to inspire people to live their dream where whatever they do. But for me, it's showing them how to do that with painting. And the painting, again, is just a tool. But I know that since I have really tapped very deeply into my inner self, that there's a oneness. It's not just me. It's an energy of a oneness all over the world. And if I could do it, I'd start going around and I'd just teach everybody in the world to, when they feel something, to paint. And so that's really my mission in life, is to make sure that people understand that they are creative, and don't let anyone tell you that you aren't.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, thank you, Sharon. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you again in person in October.
I do too, and thank you, Lilou. It was so great to talk to you today.